Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order of the MPO Policy Board for February 11th, 2021. And the first thing we need to do is take a verbal attendance. So Mayor Rosworski, I am here. Mayor Dennis.
I'm here.
Looks like Commissioner Byers.
Present.
Jackson Bogan.
Present.
I don't see Ron Campbell. Is he on the call? Cindy's shaking her head no. All right. Peter Bunder.
Here.
Cindy Murray.
Here.
And Shane Spears.
Present.
All right. We have a quorum present. Thank you, everybody.
Mayor, I think Ben Murray is here also for Mike Gibson.
Oh, okay. It's not marked on my sheet. Ben, are you here?
Here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me fill that in here real quick so I'm ready when we go back through that. All right. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 14th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
John Dennis, so moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second. David Byers.
All right. Second, Commissioner Byers. We have a motion and a second. Are there any changes, corrections, or Scribner's errors? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Byers.
Yes.
Jackson Bogan.
Aye.
Peter Bunder.
Aye.
Cindy Murray.
Aye.
Ben Murray.
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is Resolution T 2021-02, a resolution to amend the 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program. And who will be handling that?
It'll be Doug.
Okay. All right, Doug, you're up.
Great. Thank you. We received another request from the Indiana Department of Transportation to amend the current TIP, and it involves 8 projects. All 8 projects are currently in the TIP, and they are all related to the widening of I-65, specifically the next project, and that is north of the Wabash River to just north of County Road 725 North. The main project, you see in the staff report, the TIP currently shows the total construction cost at $47.4 million, and the request bumps that up to $66 million. And the reason for that is that initially the scope of the project was to widen the interstate from north of the Wabash River to north of 725 North, but then as time passed, there was concern of funding it completely. So it was pulled back to a shorter scope. Apparently there is now enough funding to fully fund it, and it will be widened to County Road, or just north of County Road 725 North. There are 4 additional projects in the TIP that the only changes are the dates going to fiscal year 2022, which this project will be let in. And those projects are the north and south bridges over Prophets Rock Road, the 725 North Bridge over the interstate, and the southbound bridge over the CSX, North 9th Street Road, and Burnett Creek Bridge. The other 4 projects, there are a change of dates to fiscal year 2022, and also change of funding amounts. And those specific funding amounts are listed in the staff report, but the 3 projects are the northbound bridge over the CSX Railroad, North 9th Street Road and Burnett Creek, and then the northbound and southbound bridges over State Road 43. The Technical Transportation Committee reviewed this request at their January 20th meeting and recommended approval. And APC staff is also recommending your approval. Are there any questions I can answer?
All right. Anybody have any questions for Doug or Shane? And if you have any additional comments on behalf of the state you'd like to make?
I do not pertaining to this.
All right. All right. There are no questions. Then we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Jackson Bogan.
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. The motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is the APC progress report. We have the MPO update and several items underneath that section. So who's handling that?
Doug will start with the new tip update.
Okay, all right, Doug, you're up again. Thank you.
Well, good news is that the progress in developing the new TIP or Transportation Improvement Program is going well. At our January Technical Transportation Committee, the committee first reviewed our new projects to the Complete Street policy and found the new projects were compliant. Those two projects were the Cherry Lane Extension Phase 2 project and the North 9th Street Trail project. The second task that committee did was to allocate all of our federal gas tax funds, and they did that. The good news is that we have enough funding to allocate or construct a lot of projects, specifically South 9th Street in Lafayette, the Sagamore Parkway Trail project, the Yeager Road project, the Morehouse Road project, and then also the McCutcheon Pedestrian Safety project. We also have enough federal funding to advance the Soldiers Home Road project, specifically for the preliminary engineering and right-of-way phase. And unfortunately, there were not enough funds to begin the Cherry Lane Phase 2 project, and then also the North 9th Street Trail project. The last part in our allocating our federal funds was for our safety projects. And there was only one request, and that was, of course, for the McCutcheon Pedestrian Safety project, and that is receiving our federal funds in fiscal year 2023. The last task that the committee did was to review Indot projects and prioritize or not make a suggestion as which projects are important to this community. And we have done this for a number of years. And those projects are the US 231 North project, continuing it to I-65, widening I-65, and then improving US 52 or Sagamore Parkway, and following the recommendation in the corridor study. And then also a new one involves adding sidewalks to State Road 38 from Sagamore Parkway to Park East Boulevard. We continue to see a demand along this corridor. The next step in terms of developing this document is submitting the draft to Indot, and their deadline is next Monday. Well, the good news is that we will be submitting it, I hope, later this afternoon. And then after that, next month in March, we will be presenting the document at our public meeting, specifically tying it in with our Citizens Participation Committee, and that will be on the second Wednesday of the month, I believe on the 10th. In April, we plan to bring it to the Technical Transportation Committee for their review and recommendation, and then hopefully in May, bring it back to this committee for review and possible adoption. So overall, the project or the process in developing this document is moving forward and moving forward nicely. Any questions?
Great. Well, that all sounds like good news, Doug. Thank you. Any questions for Doug? All right. Next, we have the 22 UPWP.
That's me, Mayor.
All right.
So this time of year, we begin our the work on our new Unified Planning Work Program, which has to be approved by Indot, Federal Highway, and Federal Transit for our office transportation planning work for the next fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2021. So the first step is always to prepare our cost allocation plan, which I've included in the packet. Our overhead rate for 2022 is lower than it is many years, specifically because with the pandemic, we were not traveling, we were not going to conferences. So last year for our, specifically for under travel, instead of spending in the 5,000 range, which would be reimbursable, we were not spending very much money. So that's the reason why our overhead is so much lower this year than typical. It was submitted to Indot, and they do a pretty fast turnaround on cost allocation plans. And a few days later, we got the approval letter from Indot, which is also included in your packet. The next step then is to allocate our federal funds for transportation planning into the work program. And then you'll see on the next page, there is the breakdown of the allocation between each MPO. This, of course, is still based on our percentage of urban population in the state based on the 2010 census, because we don't have the 2020 census numbers yet. You'll see from this the amount of planning money and the amount of 5303, which is planning money from Federal Transit Administration that we get. We will receive next year 338,667 federal dollars, matched 20% by the county council's funding of our budget. The other thing you might see in this is that based on the money, we are the largest of the small MPOs. The large MPOs are those with an urban population of 200,000 or more. We won't, I'm quite sure, get to that number from the 2020 census. Our total population may exceed that, but our urban population does not. Then the next page is the sort of the full spreadsheet of how this money is divided. You'll see in one of the boxes towards the bottom that all MPOs, the total available is $5,480,202. We have a fairly sophisticated formula for dividing up the money. We MPOs came up with this formula 10 years ago or so. Indot approved it, Federal Highway approved it, and it's designed so that Indianapolis, which would get like 3/4 of the money if it was population only, so that they don't get so much money that none of the rest of us can operate. So it is designed to be a little more equitable for the smaller MPOs than just the large ones. And for my colleagues' consideration of that, I'm always appreciative. So the next thing will be to complete the draft of the full work program, submit it to Indot for their and Federal Highway and FTA review. And once they've reviewed it, and we've made any changes that they've asked for, then it'll come back to you for full adoption.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions for Sally? All right, thank you for all your work on that. Next item is the federal funding obligations.
And that'll be Doug.
Okay, Doug, you're up.
Well, unfortunately, at this time, we don't have a paper report to hand out to go over, but the good news is that we have obligated all of our fiscal year 21 federal funds, and they went to basically 3 projects, and that was to fund the construction of Park East Boulevard, North River Road at 500 North, and then also Lindbergh Road. The Park East Boulevard project did receive very favorable bids, so the remaining residual federal funds actually were moved to the construction engineering part of that project. The city was initially going to pay for that with 100% local funds, but with the residual funds, we were able to move that over, so it will not be 100% local funds. The other thing that we did was fund the railroad construction at Lindbergh Road and KB&S. So next month we will be able to give you a report showing all of our federal funds obligated, and we will not be moving them around in the next 2 or 3 months to make sure that they are obligated. So good news.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Doug on the federal fund obligations?
No question, Mayor, but I would like to thank all the LPAs for having early lettings. The earlier the letting, the less panicked we are at APC to make sure those funds all get spent. So thank you all for being able to do that this year.
Great, wonderful, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the planning certification review.
Well, after the packet went out, we got word from Indot that they've suddenly decided they need to do a planning certification review, which happens typically every 5 years. So I guess I'm not going to get to slow down in the last month and a half before retirement, because this is a big, lengthy, time-consuming process. So we have settled on the actual certification review, which will be virtual on March 22nd. My guess is, and I would recommend Indot do this if they hadn't thought to, is that you should all be invited. It'll take probably most of a day, so with it being virtual, you could join and not join as your time might allow. City Bus will also be invited to be part of this. They essentially want us to tell our story in a PowerPoint. So we have a massive amount of work to do, gathering up every task that we do and show it to Indot, all the MOUs that we have, all the processes, all our citizen participation efforts, our TIP process, our long-range planning process, annual listing of projects, every little thing that we do, we will have to create a presentation about. So Tim and I have already met. We have an outline of what we need to prepare, and we have started to assign various elements to those staff members that are typically leading those particular efforts. So that's coming up, and we'll keep you posted on more detail and probably at our early March meeting, we'll have the last of the details for you.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for staying on and all the help you've given us in many areas. I'm sorry this getting put on your plate right here at the end, but I can't think of anybody I'd rather have doing it. So thank you very much for that. Sally, are you going to talk about the new executive hire, or is Jackson going to do that, or how are we handling that?
Well, let me just say that I wanted to bring it up because many of you know about this, but not everybody. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got the same information. So I do have a successor, and I'll let Jackson take over from here.
Okay. Jackson, you're up.
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling something up as we speak. We're sorry, 1 second. It was lost. Where is that? Okay. Yeah, I'll just briefly, you'll be able to read some more about this, but long and short, Mr. David Hiddle will be joining us. Sally, what's the date that he is officially starting?
March 1st, and then we'll have 4 weeks to, 4 weeks, a maximum, probably 4 weeks, but it's authorized for a maximum of 6 weeks of overlap and transition.
Wonderful. I'm sure that you'll be able to teach him everything that you've done over the last X number of years, right? In 4 weeks. So thanks for that. I'm kidding, obviously. But no, Sally has been great throughout this process. We had a group put together. I won't bore everybody, but it included both mayors, people from the county, commissioners and council, myself, right hands for both mayors. And long and short, went through a pretty good process, narrowed it down to 3, which quickly got narrowed down to 1. And ultimately, we think we've hit it out of the park with this individual. He is excited to come here. He comes from Johnson County. Real quick, those of you that are not familiar with that area, he was able to steady the waters in a place that, and Sally, I'm going from memory here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was the 6th executive director in 5 years, or the 5th executive director in 6 years.
Yeah, correct.
And he was able to steady the waters in doing the background check and the research with, or excuse me, and checking with, I'm drawing a, I can't think of the word, but checking, his references, checking with his references. They could not say enough great things about him. All of that to say, we're exciting. There will be some learning on the transportation piece for him, as he does not have a ton of experience in that world. Does have a lot of experience in all the other areas. We knew going into it, and Roland Winger headed up this committee and did a fabulous job. Sally was great throughout the entire process as well, as we leaned on her greatly. And we knew that we were not going to find another Sally, and we're not okay with that, because we'd love to have Sally stay on, but we also want to help her retire. So we're very happy that she agreed to stay on until we were able to find the right person. This was not a rushed decision, and we believe we've done so. And so with that, I'll open it for any questions to myself or Sally.
All right. Thank you, Jackson. Anybody have any questions? I can tell you that the selection committee is excited about Mr. Hiddle, and we think he is very much will fit into the culture of our community and our priorities and our vision, and we are excited for him to get started. So thank you to everybody that participated. Again, special thank you to Sally for helping out and staying on, but I think we've chosen a good individual who has the capacity also to continue to learn and to develop those skills that he'll need to get, and I think it'll be a good fit. So,
Mayor, I would like to add one thing. I looked at my notes. I forgot to mention. We did do this with a national search committee as well, or a national search group. So it's not like we just threw a post out on Facebook. There were real people that, and this was published, and Sally can talk about the different magazines and such, or areas where this job was actually posted. So it was a nationwide search. Oddly enough, it got narrowed down to the individual in Johnson County, about an hour from here, which worked out really well, especially during these COVID times, because we were able to meet the individual, not have to worry about everything else there. So sorry, I forgot to add that piece.
All right. All right. Well, hopefully all of you will get a chance to meet David and welcome him to the community, make him feel welcome, and we all do our part to get him started on the right foot here. So thank you to everybody. With that, we'll go to the 18-month letting list, and typically, Doug, you handle that.
Yes, I do. You see, it's a 3-page report in the packet. The first 5 projects, of course, are the January 13th letting, and the detailed information is on the very last page. All 5 projects were awarded. The project on State Road 28 was awarded to Milestone for $12.87 million. The next project, Lindbergh Road, that was awarded to Reith Riley for $3.38 million. The North River Road project awarded to White Construction for $3.78 million. Park East, Reith Riley for $1.97 million. And the State Road 26 project to Reith Riley for $2.29 million. And then, of course, you have the additional information for the engineer's estimate, how many bids were submitted, and then the estimated completion date. Looking at this month's bid letting, which was actually yesterday, there are a number of projects. They are all on the Hoosier Heartland and involve thin deck overlays. And 5 bids were received. The engineer's estimate was $1.24 million. Interestingly, the low bid was only $566,366 from Pacific Painting. Ram Construction was the next lowest bidder at $718,566. So we'll have to see how this project plays out and who gets it. So that's a significant small bid compared to what the engineer's estimate was. Project 13 is on State Road 38. That moved from a March to April letting. And you can see there projects 13 through 18 are the remaining projects for the state fiscal year. Looking at the second page, you'll see changes in projects 32 to 42. And if you look at all of these, they're pretty much related to the I-65 widening project, which is targeted for a February 9th, 2022 letting. Exciting news, more construction, especially for those traveling on I-65. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Doug? All right, thank you, Doug. Is there any other business to come before the board today? We don't have any. Go, please.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't get on the agenda. Just want to give a quick update on the, so we're calling the US 231 corridor study. Well, I spoke, I think, a couple months about where we're in and the MPOs working together on studying that area and that north alignment from 231 to 65. We've got the kickoff meeting today, and most or some of you will be hearing from our consultant Lockmiller group, where we're identifying the key stakeholders so they can kind of go that next step. So that process will be approximately 6 to 8 weeks. So kind of what I envision is once they get started on that and some of the stakeholders are contacted, I'll probably have them come to one of the meetings and we'll talk about next steps and lay out some additional transparency on milestones and kind of go for it. So one long, I apologize for not getting on the agenda.
Okay, no problem. Well, thank you for that update and kind of an idea what the process will start to look like? Anybody have any questions for Shane about that?
No question, but a little follow on. Our staff and the consulting firm, Lockmuir Group, had a good virtual meeting in the last week, started to figure out where we're headed, who has what information, and how we will do stakeholder involvement and ultimately public process involvement. So we had a really good meeting and we're all on the same page about how to move forward.
Good. That's wonderful. That's always very helpful.
Yes.
Thank
I have a
you.
question.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Can Shane give us an update on Teal Road? Are things moving along?
Yeah, snow covered. Now, moving utilities should be seeing more actual type work this next spring. Because, as last year we spoke with utilities are being moved and getting utilities out of the way to start real construction. But I can, for the next month, I can bring more detailed information if you guys would like.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yep, that'd be great.
Yep, glad to.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? All right. I saw the chat to everyone that there has been no citizen comments to this point. Sally, do you still want to have that minute where you wait, or are you comfortable then that we can adjourn?
I think I'm comfortable. We can adjourn.
Okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson.
Okay. Was that Jackson? I didn't catch you. The second was.
Yes, Jackson. Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll do the final roll call vote for adjournment. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Commissioner Byers.
I can go squeaky voice and say aye, like Myrtle. if you want.
All right. Jackson Bogan,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Stay warm.
Yeah.
This conference is no longer being recorded.